Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for the support that you've been showing, and thank you for the love that you have been showing. I must go ahead and say that this might be a very sensitive topic to some, but given the moral standards of the world are changing and certain traditions are being questioned, I figure that this might be the best time to have this discussion. So our topic of today is going to be, what would it mean for Kenya to allow the LGBTQ community? Currently, the LGBTQ community is incredibly underrepresented and even looked down upon a bit in Kenya. However, what would it mean if the contrary were to happen? Well, that is what our panel is going to discuss with us today. For some of you, I'm sure our panel look familiar, but for those ones who are new, I will let them reintroduce themselves. Let's start from you.
My name is Nelly.
My name is Dennis.
Welcome again. Welcome once more to this platform. Thank you for being with us here on this segment. So, what do you think is the hesitancy behind accepting this community? Dennis.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to start off by saying that the LGBT is not a person, it's a community. It's a name that represents a certain community. So the people behind that name have existed in Kenya and all over the world for a very long time. And since human beings began, they were always there. So the hesitancy that I think it's more crucial is about the cultural norm, and religion also played a part, and also bigotry and government overstepping. Because LGBT people are people just like us. They could be your cousins, your fathers, your mothers, anyone, and they are discriminated by who they choose to love, and that's a very big overstep. So the major thing I think we would look into when we're saying that they've been underrepresented and not accepted in Kenya is because of the culture of Kenya, and also the culture, the religion that we have in Kenya. Currently, we have about 70-80% are Christians and other Abrahamic religions. So most of them do prohibit same-sex love, and that has contributed a huge part of it. Also, the government overstepping when it comes to people's privacy and what people decide to do on consensual relationships. That's a bit of worry on government's part. I do think it's going to change in the future, as we are going to be a progressive nation as time goes on.
Okay, it's going to change according to you. What about you? What do you think? What's your stance on this?
For me, I think he has just gone through
Your point.
everything, but mostly I think the hesitance is because of religion mostly, and culture.
And culture.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to change?
To change, not soon.
Not soon.
Yeah, it might, but not soon.
Not soon. So perhaps someone claims that they don't hate or dislike this community, and even admits to treating them the same way they treat anyone else. However, they can't accept this community because they can't naturally give birth. What would you say in that respect?
I do have a lot to say. So when we speak about giving birth, even straight people and cisgendered women don't give birth at some time. By that I mean there are people who have reproductive issues. There are people who are born in a certain way that they can't naturally give birth, and that doesn't make them less of a woman or less of a person. So I don't think that should ever be a metric of judging other people, because there are people who choose not to have kids at all.
And does acceptance affect the gender roles in Kenya? Do you predict a negative impact on the country if LGBTQ is accepted?
Yeah, it certainly will. But I think gender roles as a whole is a whole scam, because what we are taught as gender role is, we are told a woman should clean, cook, raise the children, and a man should work. So right now, cooking, cleaning, and raising your kids, that's supposed to be duties to parents and people who live. Anyone should be able to cook for themselves. Everyone should be able to clean up for themselves. That's not a woman thing or a lady thing or a man thing, yeah. And working, women work nowadays. They've always worked. In fact, women are the hardest worker because they still work at home, unpaid labor. And yeah, so gender roles will be affected, but in a way that they neutralize them.
Do you think it will be a negative impact on the country though?
It might be, because some people might not be accepting of the roles given to this particular community. You'll find even some people, their respect won't be there. You know, there's some rules that people are given, and some respect that comes with it.
For instance?
Let me say, like the head of the police.
Okay.
Yeah. If, for example, you find if they gave the role to yes, you'll find there'll just be some type of respect that will be lost.
So you think it would affect it negatively?
Yes.
In your perspective?
Yes.
Okay, I think what my kind friend over here is trying to imply is that we undermine women's work because a lot of women, given the positions of power, are really scrutinized on things that men wouldn't be scrutinized on.
Okay.
So the homophobia and everything against the queer people is actually very intertwined with misogyny.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. I'm getting educated today. So what's necessary to help the older generations understand and even tolerate this community, Nelly?
I don't think there's anything you can do to the older community to make them understand a certain thing that they've embelled in themselves that this is wrong. There's no way of doing that unless they change their own mentality.
Do you think they'll ever change?
I don't think they will.
What is your take on this?
Actually, it reminds me of a song. I don't know if anyone has had a chance to listen to it. It's in TikTok. The one that goes, your baba could be LGBTQ. Your baba could be LGBT. I can't it. It's on TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I'd like to let this older generation know is that you interact with these people every day.
Okay.
You may not know it, but you do. And they may be your bosses, maybe your sons, your daughters, anyone. And whether or not you want to love them, that's up to you. But whether or not you respect their identity, that's also up to you. But do know that they're also human. They're not less human because of who they are.
So there's nothing really to make them.
Yeah.
There might be something, maybe for example, if you find maybe your daughter, if someone close to them, their child,
Okay.
your daughter, your son, someone who is close to you, your grandson,
But
your
do you think
granddaughter.
that would necessarily make them change? Because they might be like, okay, I will disown you. This is an African.
Yes,
nation.
some disown, but let me just give an example of you're the favorite child. Maybe
Okay.
you were that. You see those golden children.
Yeah.
You are the
Star.
golden child of the house. Your mom, your dad, everywhere they go, they have to speak about you. And then this is your identity.
Yeah.
You come out to, you necessarily don't have to come out, but once you come out and tell them, they might feel some type of way, but if you are always the golden child, they will always cut corners.
So you think they would?
Okay, I think I have had friends who have had similar experiences where they are the golden child, they're the most accomplished ones. They turned out to be gay, and the parents didn't accept them. But they're also the ones that, whether or not you're the golden child, they don't want anything to do with you, and that's very bad because first of all, you raise this person since they were a child. How will you disown them once they start living the truth?
Yeah.
So it's just a
Matter of their perspective.
yeah, exactly.
And does accepting the LGBTQ community help women and others advance in Kenya? Advance meaning that they have equal opportunities to obtaining positions of power. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I think that will go back to the point on gender roles, and once this community, not even accepted, but once the laws that are currently put in place are abolished, or which has been tried, and at one point they are going to fall because those are still colonial laws, and they are going to lax the laws. No, not lax the laws, but lax the discrimination that's happening inside institutions. educational institutions, government institutions, and even religious institutions. Those are some of the logics that people use, because they use identities, women's identities, LGBT identities, even men identities in certain scenarios. And yeah.
So it will help people to rise in powerful positions.
Exactly.
Have you? So what is your take? Because I'm hearing.
I don't know if I've understood the question, or I'm the one who has not understood the question.
Does accepting the LGBTQ community help women and others advance in Kenya?
Accepting them.
Yeah, does accepting them. Yes.
Okay, first you have to accept them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But what if they're not accepted?
But the thing is,
if they are accepted,
yes, will it help?
I have a 50-50 because to me I see like for males,
Mm-hmm.
for males who are in the LGBTQ community, some of the straight fellow males
Mm-hmm.
don't see them as
Macho,
yes,
like that.
they don't
men.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
they don't see them as macho.
Mm-hmm.
So
You don't know if it will help women and others to raise it.
yeah.
I think okay. I think I understand what she says,
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm getting is that most of the majority cis men, and cis men, by cis men we mean men that are born men and identify as men and they're straight, and most of them view femininity as weakness or toxic or something that's not masculine. They view anything apart from masculinity as something acceptable. And there are men that are not masculine, there are men that are feminine, and that draws a very skewed image of what a man is. And yeah, that's where majority of misogyny roots from.
But you're still sticking on it will change, as in it will.
Yeah,
they will be able.
not completely change everything,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of things are not going to be the same.
So it will help some way. It will help other
Yeah.
other people to rise.
Yeah.
Because if this thing, for instance, is accepted, that means that more people would come out.
Yes.
True.
Okay, I get it. So, with this regard, what are the first steps that should be taken for us to getting like the country to accept the LGBTQ community?
Steps.
Yeah, steps. The first steps to
Steps.
getting the country to accept the LGBTQ community.
The first step, I think, should be everyone should like roll out all those. You know that there's imaginary borders on what this is, what they are. You know, I think empathy is the first step.
What about you?
I do agree. Putting the person first, understanding that that's a person, and that person has had history, has had life, has loved people, is loved by people, is someone's brother, sister, or cousin, and you should just understand they are human. Then after that, we now start talking about the cultural norms, education system. We also talk about the legal system. We need to abolish these colonial laws because they don't serve anyone, they just hurt people.
Okay, that has been very, very insightful. So first, I would like to thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of this and giving your inputs on this subject. And secondly, I would like to thank all of you for watching. Thank you for being part of this segment. If you have anything to say on the topic or the questions that have been posed, please comment down below. Thank you for watching. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, subscribe, and see you next time on our next episode. Bye.